There is an invisible gap that seems to be widening and widening instead of closing. That gap is the technology gap that separates people instead of bringing people together. Of course, we know about the wealth gap, we know about the intellectual capacity gap, the knowledge gap. There are so many gaps, but this one about technology, it bothers me. It bothers me so much. But fortunately for you, story warriors, story weavers, content creators, draw your chairs closer because you're about to drink from a fire hose. I warn you, you're not going to be drinking from a regular, tiny little regular cup. This gentleman, Mr. Ben-Collins Asongwe, is the real deal. He's going to break it down and let you understand that it is possible to breach the knowledge gap, especially as far as technology is concerned. And he's using his superpower. What is his superpower? AI. Hi, good evening. Or should I say good morning, Mr. Ben
Hi, good
Collins?
evening.
It's evening, right? It's evening where you are. I was thinking maybe you're in Tokyo, maybe you're somewhere, some part of the world, because
In
uh,
the digital world, I could be anywhere, right?
there
So
you
this,
go.
as you were saying, is demonstrating the
Yes.
benefit of technology because it facilitates this conversation between us in two different regions, and we're able to meet here, and commute. And can I just say, it's an absolute pleasure being on your podcast, on your show. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for everything you do to your community.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you because you are patient. First, you're bringing a wealth of knowledge, but we experienced some technical hitches. It's like it was testing our ability
That's
to
right.
use technology to bridge this gap. And I wasn't sure if you're in the United States or some other parts of the world, but thank goodness we managed to bridge that gap. Credit to you, credit to the gods of technology, if there's any such thing, for allowing us to have this conversation because there are so many brothers, there's so many sisters who are hungry for knowledge. Everywhere you go, you hear about AI, artificial intelligence, until you start to feel like, oh my God, am I artificial myself? Am I still a human? Everything looks so surreal.
Right.
Everything looks so different, but it's real. So, Mr. Ben Collins, you're a man of technology.
I
Should I
am.
be afraid for my job? Is AI going to take away this my little podcast that I'm reaching people? I'm trying to
No,
serve my people, you know?
no,
Is it
I
going to
don't.
take away my job?
I don't believe so. And starting with you specifically, Gideon, because of your why. I think your why is very important. The reason why you do things are kind of your fuel, and that those are the things that are going to carry you through. I guess good days, bad days, or however it is. But when I talk about technology, I like to start by demystifying technology, right? Because
Thank
there
you.
is obviously a fear about it
Thank
and
you.
a fear of what it could do, and things like that. But the demystification comes where, think about it, right? Cell phones are not new. Right,
Yeah.
you can ask yourself, how long have you been using your cell phone, and just realize that that's the amount of time you've been using AI, right?
Mhm.
So the demystification comes where we understand that, whether it be a radio, whether it be a car, whatever it is that has benefited humanity from a technological standpoint, has had an element of artificial intelligence in it.
Mm.
And so what I hope people understand is they reframe the mindset to, this is this thing that is going to disrupt our future, and we can do nothing about it,
Mhm.
to, hey, here's a great tool, right? Imagine having the smartest person, one of the smartest people, let's put it that way, who are there to listen, to maybe opportunities that you have, or questions that you have, things that you want to solve. And now you kind of have that opportunity and possibility to tap from that knowledge. When I
Mm.
think of I think of tremendous benefit to humanity, because imagine a farmer sitting somewhere in a remote village, right, who has a bad year of
Mhm.
harvest,
Mhm.
now can leverage technology and say, hey, I had a bad year of harvest. What can I do to improve? whether it be the crops, whether it be the soil. Can I change strategies? Maybe can I, so that when I think of artificial intelligence, when I think of technology, those are the kinds of benefits that I'm
Mm.
hoping we as a collective species are able to tap from.
Thank you so much. And I know we jump right in. I promised them it's going to be a fire hose consumption, and you brought it on. If you're just joining someone, one of the viewers, whether they're in Asia, in Middle East, in Africa, in North America, South America, I don't know where people watch this from. Increasingly, I'm getting people from faraway places. This is the Story Warrior
Amazing.
channel, the channel where we feature unsung heroes with untold stories. And my humble self, Gideon Fomokwai, I call myself a story warrior. But tonight we have someone who has a very good grasp of what AI is all about. And that's why we started pouring. We started to pour out so that we're just giving you a little teaser of what you're going to expect today. So who is Mr. Ben-Collins Asongwe, the AI man, the man of AI, who's trying to bridge the gap between the haves and the have-nots?
Right, right. So my story begins in a country in the west coast of Africa called Cameroon. So I'm Cameroonian by birth. I grew up kind of being passionate about two things, and it was as a result of my environment, a result of my circumstances, and things like that. So the first was people. I had the opportunity to kind of be in several leadership roles. When I was little, for example, I was a junior parliamentarian. By some chance, some stroke of luck, I was able to go and kind of glean and learn what service kind of looks like, right, up and close, from a government standpoint. And then going to boarding school, having the opportunity to serve as a dormitory captain, right? So this is me around 15, being in charge of, I don't know, 50, 60,
15. 15.
students.
That is amazing. 15. I could not even spell my name. 15. I don't think I could not even tie my shoelaces. I couldn't even like, young man, what did you eat for breakfast? I don't know. You were already a dormitory captain by 15. So it means you knew your way around the block. You knew how to
I,
get around.
I would say this. I've had amazing support, right? From my family, from my friends, the people around me, that have just kind of pushed and propelled me to think beyond just myself. Is how I kind of look at it. So it really was just it was an honor, it was a privilege to be able to help students be on time to various activities, be clean, sleep on time, wake up on time, just their overall well-being, because I think one of my other fundamental principles is that we're always better as a collective, right? Just imagine for a second if all of us just for some reason decided and said we're going to act in each other's best interest, right? We're going to leverage the tools, we're going to leverage our resources to kind of elevate each other. I think this is my speculation, and it's going to be a wonderful world. So I try to emulate that as much as I can, within my capacities. So those kind of experiences that I had growing up, led me to the United States. So I came. I've been here for about 14 years, give or take. Have met just some really amazing people again along the way. Have had mentors. Have had really dear friends that continue to just kind of champion and push these crazy notions that I have, in my brain. So that's the people side of things. I've grown up surrounded by people. I've grown up, living vicariously, I guess, if you will, through people, and just learning from all these human experiences. And all the while, the other thing I get a lot, people ask me is, when did my AI journey start? To be honest with you, I have always tinkered with stuff. Right. I have always, I was one of those kids who will, take my toy cars apart because I wanted to see what was inside, and I wanted to see, how it worked. And something like that helps me realize that, even anything, no matter how small, contributes to kind of
Mhm.
the whole, contributes to the bigger picture. Because in a car, for example, you see that the pedals are just pedals. But what the pedals do is that they stop the whole car, right?
Mhm.
So every kind of part has a role. So just exploring, devices like that. I would play on my computer for hours. I've always loved tech. So I just got to that point in my life where I realized I could combine both things. And so I started my company, BC Advantage, which aims to do the thing that you kind of mentioned, bridge the gap between humans and technology, especially artificial intelligence. I think it's such a tremendous tool. We've been using it our whole lives, but there is now an opportunity with AI where I look at AI as your data, the data we've been feeding into the internet for so long, being able to talk to us. That
Mhm.
kind of how I view AI.
Wow, that's interesting. And the name of your company, BC Advantage, is almost like the name gives it away, but at the same time it takes it back. So BC,
Yeah,
I'm thinking, okay, it's Ben Collins, but at the same time it feels like it's before Christ. So it's like, okay, if you were before Christ, then there was no
I'll tell you.
technology at that time. So, but
Good, good.
it is interesting.
Yeah, I have never thought of that. But I was gonna say, do you know it's my little sister who named my company?
Hmm. Is
Yeah.
she one of your AI geniuses or what?
Well, I learned from her. So in many ways, she has influenced me, and she's influenced this path, that
Mhm.
I'm on. But
Okay.
I'm very close to my family, right? We are three. I have three other siblings, so we're four in the family. Mom and dad, again, thankfully, who have brought us up with these values of community, love, and friendship, and all those things. So we have a fantastic relationship. And my sister and I somehow in this again crazy life ended
Mhm.
up in Texas, while my older brother and my little brother ended up in Germany. Right.
Mhm.
So, being here in the United States with my little sister has, made us closer,
Wow. Wow.
as adults, I think over time. And so when I got to that point, the inspiration even to start my own company came
Mhm.
from her, because I saw her just be amazing, right?
Mhm.
She started her own company way before I did, so I was inspired by her. I
Mhm.
saw her, go out there and challenge the norms, essentially. So when I wanted to also kind of go down this journey, I was learning a lot of things, kind of from her. But we got to that point where I had to name the company, and I told her, I thought out a couple of names, and she looked at me, and finally she just said, why not BC Advantage? And it just clicked.
That is amazing.
So
That's
yeah,
amazing.
she
So
named my
I'm
company.
happy that you have a sister who is like an inspiration or your muse, your technology muse. But when did you discover that your understanding of people, your appreciation of people, and your understanding of technology is useful in serving others?
Right.
When did that moment occur to you? When is it? When you talk to your sister? Is it when you solved a problem? Is it when you saw someone struggling or typing with one finger like I do? You said maybe this guy can actually use AI to type for him because he's typing
Right.
with one finger. Or when did that click for you? Give us that
Right.
moment.
Right.
Take us to that
So
moment.
so I would say it was, in my journey, what was required. I don't know if there was a one specific moment that just kind of aligned all the dots, but
Or
what was
maybe it was your
required,
journey. Mhm.
yes, what was required was a self-reflection, right? His self reflection was so critical to get me down this path that I was on, right?
Mhm.
So, sometime around last year, December, I had just left, this job, with Deloitte. And, I was taking a step back and
Mean Deloitte, the accounting firm?
correct. So, Deloitte does a
Well,
lot of
you
things.
you can't just drop in Deloitte like just cover it under the blanket and like no, that's a major name drop. Boom, make it sound like it's all right. Make it sound like okay. So you are with Deloitte, which is
Amazing,
an elite firm,
amazing company. Yes, amazing company.
originally from Australia or so, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember their origins, but I know
Mhm.
they're global, right?
Yes.
And a lot of people who know about Deloitte know Deloitte, as you said, because of accounting. But
Mhm.
as someone who has worked for that company, I'll tell you this: they do a lot more than accounting. They're in
Fair enough.
so many departments. They're in
Okay.
so many areas, right?
Mhm.
Even they were one of the major sponsors of the Olympics, right? The 2024 Olympics that just happened
Yeah,
in Paris.
they get a lot of our money, so they better spend some of it on us too.
So they were one of the major sponsors of that, and the partnership there was a technology partnership because what they were trying to do was marry the activities and everything that was going to happen and
Okay.
technology in terms of reporting, the
Mhm.
statistics, things like that. The
Mhm.
the Oculus that I even showed you.
Mhm.
It's getting to a point, and I don't know if directly through a partnership with Deloitte, but it's getting to a point where you would wear those Oculus and then you would be able to see a digital recreation of the Olympic
Okay.
Games, right? Whether it be
Okay.
a race, whatever it is, and then you'd
Okay.
wear this headset and you kind of have an overview. So
Okay.
I worked for Deloitte. Listen, it was a great experience. I'm gonna, I'm gonna tell you that for sure. It had its up and downs, of course, but I learned so much. So, anyways, I'd left that company and I was, kind of going down this path where, I was trying to figure out what my next move was. And this is, I learned from each of my siblings. Each of my siblings kind of play a very, pivotal role, in this path I'm along. So my older brother, for example, in December, he gave me this book called "Start with Why" by Simon Sinek.
I
Right?
know
I
it.
don't know if you know about
I
it. Okay.
actually teach it a lot in my leadership classes. And
Exactly.
I literally recommend the 10-minute talk on that, which was a prelude to the book, to
Yeah.
almost every leadership class that I teach to my executives. But go ahead, go ahead.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So start with why
Mhm.
makes you really start with why, right? Whatever path you're on. And this is why when we started the podcast and you were talking about being worried about AI taking your job, and I said to you, I don't think so, because the reason why you're doing this, I don't think AI would ever understand it to that degree. Right? This is
Okay.
what separates it. Your passion, your ambition comes directly from you.
Besides, I
Right?
don't think that AI would be capable of raising this vuvuzela and blasting it up. So as long as it doesn't take my food, doesn't take my wife, doesn't take my daughters, I'm okay. It can take my job. I'll recreate myself. I'll reinvent myself. But back to the question, which is,
Right.
you are narrating how you were
Right.
beginning
So, so
with your why,
Right.
and
So
then
going on this journey where my older brother in December gave me this book and then it just clicked, right? A lot of things were clicking. I started reflecting, about my whole life, right? That's something that not a lot of people do, but I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Because through going back and doing a reflection, you notice patterns. You notice the things that you do naturally, right? So it
Mhm.
was sort of that realization that when I grow, I love to grow with people, right? When I was a manager at work, when I used to work with, Mercer, whatever was my time when I was with WTW, when I was in positions of leadership, for me, it was about growing with people, and it was about breaking down the complex stuff. If I'm sitting, for example, in a team meeting, and we have a task to do, what I make sure everyone in that room leaves with is, here's what you have to do, number one, but here is number two, why you're doing it and how
Mhm.
it fits into the overall, kind of goal. Because when you make people that accountable, when you make them understand, right, why it's important, and again, it's a blessing that they do it. It's not a given
Yep,
that they
yep.
do it.
So checking out or reading that book force you to think about your why, and
Correct.
then it dawned on you, maybe I'm the technology guy. Maybe I should.
So again, from the people side, realizing all these things, right? Going with people. From a technology side, the first system, AI system that I built was actually in 2019, and I built it by accident. So that's why, again, I said that reflection is very important.
Mhm.
I was thinking about how in 2019, I was trying to. I was trying to solve a problem for the company I worked for at the time, right? It was a billing problem. And what it was it took a lot of time, right? You know, you would have to look at your WIP, which is like your work in progress. It's a snapshot of what everybody, you know, in the team is doing, where they're billing their hours, things like that. And then we have to reconcile that to, with the SLA, which is a, client service level agreement, right? You have to say, okay, what are fixed bills and what are flexible bills, and things like that. And then you go through this whole reconciliation process. You go to this whole, it's a tedious exercise. I did it once and then I was like, nope, I'm not going to do it the same way again. So what that led me to do is to start building a system. I wrote probably one of the most complex if functions, right? It was like a if and an if and an if, and it just went on forever. But it had all these criteria, it had all these conditions that if met, the
Mhm.
system should behave a certain way. And that is fundamental to artificial intelligence, right? So
Mhm.
reflecting on things like that, reflecting on, things I did when I was much younger, helped me realize the patterns and help me realize those things that, I do naturally, and help me tap into those things.
Mhm.
Before I left, with Deloitte, for example, I had taken a AI fluency course,
Mhm.
and I learned again. For me, the biggest thing there was you've been doing this your whole life. That was my my kind of takeaway after
Mhm.
completing that program. So all those things instrumental to this path I'm currently on.
Mm. So it is reflection
Yes.
that help you to gather your thoughts and the momentum and the determination to say, this is the way I'm going. And famous American educator by name Ed Merzero says, adults learn best when they stop and reflect. So you are absolutely spot on. It was a
Yeah.
reflection that
Yeah.
catapulted you to a point of saying, you know what? I'm going to go in this direction. So now you are in the business of closing the gap between those who are super technology savvy and those who are just coming from behind. And it
Correct.
looks like you have your eyes set, your pivot is into communities of color that are a little bit left behind in some ways. Tell us who are some of your clients that are within the community or the niche that you're serving.
Right, right. So a lot of the work that I've been doing so far has been grassroots. So
Okay.
when this year started, I go by themes. Every year I go by themes. Last year, ironically, my theme was self discovery. I dedicated the whole year to discovering myself, rediscovering myself, I would say.
Mhm.
But my theme this year was purpose. My theme this
Okay.
year was purpose, right? So I
Okay.
spent a good chunk of this year, the past 2.5 months, traveling the world, because I wanted to meet people where they were, right? There's the statistics, there's the data, what the at the high level what it says, but what are people? What are everyday people like you and me? What do they know about this? What are they doing about it? So it was, for example, I could be in an Uber, right? I was in an Uber in Canada, talking to this lady who was, from Colombia. And she's telling me how, she'd like to take some English classes to improve her English, but she doesn't have the time, and she doesn't have the resources to go sit and pay for, classes because, again, she has a family, she has 4 kids, and trying to juggle everything is hard. In my mind, I go, hey, do you know about AI? She's like, no. So I jump in. Or I meet the doorman, for example, in Dubai, right? This is the guy whose job is to, make sure who is coming into the building, and things like that,
That
who
good
is going
guys
out
can
the
go in,
building.
bad guys don't go in.
Exactly, exactly. And I kind of, we're talking, we strike up a conversation, and I go, well, have you heard about AI? And he doesn't, right? So it also kind of makes me realize how we all live in different bubbles, and things like that. So a lot of my work has been grassroots movements like that, and word like that spreads, right? Where you can, I could get called back, by somebody who says, hey, I looked into that stuff that you said. I want to learn more, right? And then I jump in there. I do lessons. I teach people. With I had to start from home. So
Mhm.
one of my first students was my mother, right? She retired last year. and kind of at that point where she was like, okay, well, so what comes next? What comes next? Again, those brain cells in my mind are going, hey, do you know about AI? And my point and my purpose with doing things like that is that community empowerment,
And
right?
bridging, or what I call bridging the gap. You're closing the
Exactly.
gap. You're reaching
Exactly.
average people where they are and helping them, showing them how to use AI. Is that correct? Because that's what I'm getting.
Exactly.
Now, I
Exactly.
don't know. I don't know if those guys can pay you, the everyday heroes, but they definitely need that knowledge. I know
Exactly.
they need that knowledge. So that's very, very important. And I want to acknowledge that
Right.
sometimes we work from a place of service. And when you go from a place of service, the money will come. So,
Right.
what about those business owners like myself
Right.
that are super busy? They're
Right.
small business owners.
Right.
Can you help them solve some problems? If so, what kind of problems can you help business owners
Right.
solve? That
Right.
they, I don't have a board of directors. I wish
Mm.
I could if I need to, but my wife is my board of directors. What can you help an average business owner do with AI?
Right. So one of the services, right? I do three things with my company. The first one is consulting. So I'm still a consultant, and that's something that I very much enjoy because being a consultant is about solving problems. Like again, remember before us starting this call, it was a series of technological challenges, but it was the patience, it was the dedication to say, hey, listen, we're going to try this, we're going to try that. We will get to the bottom of it. We just have
Full
to keep
full
chipping at
disclosure, 9 or 10 times I wanted to quit.
it.
So
So,
that's why I would pay someone like you because you are the problem solver. You were the one that was far more patient than I was. I wanted
exactly.
to move on to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. But kudos to you. You definitely proved the concept. The proof
Exactly.
is in the pudding. Yeah, go ahead. So
Yeah,
you
that
help people solve problems. Yes.
I help people solve problems. That's the job of a consultant. And the problems are far and wide. Believe you me, the problems are far and wide. I'll give you another example of a project that I've done for a business. So the projects that I worked on, you had this client on an international stage, which was going through a divestiture, right? They're splitting, the company. So think about it. When a company like that is splitting, what is happening? People are splitting, right? Because you have to see who is going on the left, who is going on the right. Systems are splitting too, right? So you have to think about setting up new legal entities and then figuring which systems you're going to use. At that point, too, is an opportunity to upgrade the system. So if you have any technological upgrades that you've been putting off doing, that is a perfect time to do it to bring in the new people. You also look at like the benefit structure. The benefit structure would have to, be readjusted because let me say you had signed with insurance company X for 100 lives, right? Those are the number of people you're going to cover, and then now suddenly it's going to be 10 lives. You have to renegotiate, all those kinds of things. So
Mhm.
we essentially help this company from a global perspective. We were operating in about 54 countries to just help streamline that process, right? In terms of consulting, in terms of business solving, it is about having those open and honest conversations, right? About what are you trying to achieve? Really understanding that goal. Because a lot of what happens is that I talk, you talk, but we don't really hear each other. So it is our job as consultants to come in, filter out the noise, and then connect the dots. So
Mhm.
whatever your need is, right? I'm just putting it
Mhm.
in a straightforward manner,
Mhm.
whatever your need is, my job is to help you go from point A to point B.
Point B.
Put in the steps that will take you there. It sounds complex, but I guarantee you it's really not. And that is the job. That is the
Is
job of
that
a consultant.
is that because sometimes you use AI tools to simplify it, or is it because you just use the Q&A, and then you work out a process for that? But now,
You,
for
you
that
have to,
client,
you have
did you need to embed AI in the whole process, or it was not necessarily AI driven?
you have to stay curious. It's not about AI at the end of the day. What AI would never take away from you is your curiosity. AI is just there to answer questions, right? By that, let me say, for example, you are trying to, this is me kind of thinking of something. You are trying to get to New York, right?
Mhm.
You're trying to get to New York. what do you want to do in New York? Right? You have to pick out, maybe you want to go to a show, maybe you want to go to the theater, maybe you want to visit, XYZ. You are doing that critical thinking. You are figuring out, okay, here are the activities that I want to do. Here's where I'm going to stay, and things like that. And then all you do after that is you just go to Google and then you fill in the blank spaces, right?
Mhm.
That is leveraging technology. That's a very crude but simple example of leveraging technology. So apply that in a business sense. I
Mhm.
still ask the questions, right? Because I'm like, okay, this particular business needs XYZ. How
Mhm.
can we get that thing? Those
Mhm.
are the questions that we're asking AI. But you can't just go to AI and say, well, solve this problem. You have to.
Okay.
That's why a job like prompt engineering is
Yes.
paying so well now. But the job of a prompt engineer is to think of the
Question.
perfect
The right question.
question to
The right
ask.
question.
Yeah.
So, if a guy like me who likes to travel, got clients, different states in America, maybe easily over 15 states, I can't
Yes.
say, all right, in the last 3 months, I've been on the road probably to 12 states. I spent quite a lot. Can you use AI for small business guy like me to help me find the most affordable tickets, to find the most affordable hotels, which are still quality,
Yeah.
and make my life a little bit better than the
Yeah.
guys who don't know how to leverage AI, and
Yeah.
by so
So
doing, reduce my cost, my overhead, so that at the end of the year I have a little bit more leverage in terms of how much I have in hand. Would your AI help me bridge that gap?
correct. So let's do a consultation, free consultation, live in
All
terms
right.
of this
All right.
issue that you
Story
want.
warriors, come closer. I told you this man is brilliant. Come closer. Draw your chest closer. He's about to put this little question of mine, my little prompt engineering mind,
Right.
into a successful resolution. So yes. All right.
Exactly.
Tell us,
So
how can I save some money in overheads?
correct. So the first thing I would say, just right off the bat, hearing you out, is do you have to travel to those places? Do you absolutely have to be there? Because the alternative here is that you can leverage technology, right? You can leverage technology to have virtual meetings. You can leverage technology, and where we're going with things like the Oculus and things like that, you'll be able to project, right? You would have an avatar that would look like you, and you'll be able to attend meetings in those places without actually having to be there. So the number one question again is, do you have to be there in person? So what is your answer to that question?
My answer is yes, because it increases my rate of closing business. I could still
Okay.
choose to be here, which I
Okay.
did
Okay.
sometimes, but
Okay.
it does not increase the sense of urgency when you
Right.
meet someone in person. Like last week, I was blessed to meet you. You invited me to a
Right.
beautiful home. Now,
Right. Right.
that was amazing because the personal touch.
Right.
It also
Right.
allowed me to understand some of the areas in which my fascination meets with your fascination.
Correct.
We could
Correct.
have done a Zoom meeting, but
Correct.
the Zoom meeting would not have been enough to
Personal at
help
that
me
one.
have a better understanding of this fascinating gentleman who is a problem solver called Mr. BC Asongwe.
Yes. So the answer to that question is you
Yes.
absolutely have to be there in person, right? So
90%, 95%, yes.
95% of the time. So
Mhm.
now we start approaching the tasks, right? I'm looking for where we can find automation,
Mhm.
opportunities for automation. Whatever
Mhm.
it is that you have to type, whatever it is that you have to look up, we can automate those things. So we'd have to take a holistic view of what do you do whenever you're visiting a client? What are some of the things in your checklist, right? And
Mhm.
look for ways to automate that process. The
Mhm.
next thing that, and when I say AI, I'm using it very broadly because I'm just saying it's technology,
Mhm.
leverage technology. The
Mhm.
other thing that we can do, for example, is we can just take a look at the map, right? When you go to book your hotels or whatever, I don't know what strategies that you use, but we will have to discuss those strategies and find inefficiencies. Right. We will
Mhm.
say, okay, maybe you used to go to this website and this website, was claiming to give you the best prices, but those are not really the best prices. And so you can do this alternative. You just put in solutions to those different areas that will either create a stopgap and stop making you waste money,
Mhm.
and then over time lead to kind of savings. So
Or maybe
just
I pay a lot more on one Uber because I'm renting too far away from the hotel. Okay, I get it. right.
Exactly, exactly.
Mhm.
So it is not, when I say AI, I hope people start understanding again, because it's not new, is that it's technology in general. So leverage technology, right? Use it to automate whatever you can automate, right? Use it to improve whatever processes that you can improve. So as a business owner, in our consultations, I will have to look at the full spectrum of what you're doing and then process optimize in each
Mhm.
area, whether it's hotel, whether it's transportation, whether it's the interactions that you're having. Just find ways to fine tune those, which would then result in, at the end of the year, you having more money because you're doing a lot less of the things that you were squandering, I would say, before. Yes.
Okay, cool. That's interesting. All right, it can help me identify the lowest cost path
Correct.
and routes to saving
Correct.
some money. That's
Correct.
interesting. Now,
And
on
and
the
here's
other
here's
hand,
how here's how. Sorry, let me wrap this off with saying now, if you want to take an AI system, specific like a Chat GPT, BCAI, or whatever,
mhm,
what you will do is narrate what you just told me. You will say, "Hey, right, I'm a business owner. This
mhm,
is what I'm doing, and
mhm,
I would like to improve those processes and
mhm,
watch it do its thing." So
mhm.
that's how my recommendation, if you're using an AI
Okay,
chatbot,
okay,
put what the problem is,
yeah,
put what your expected outcome or solution is, and
mhm,
watch it kind of help you
okay.
with that. Yes.
Very interesting. I tried one of them called Perplexity. I don't want to call names, but it did not give me the most impressive results. I'd heard a lot about it. My colleagues talked about it. I went there and did my fair best. I even used some questions, translated some questions, and it did not give me results that pleased me. But that's a
Right.
separate issue altogether. So
No,
I
it's
maybe
good.
there are some, maybe I am the one that did not do a good prompt engineering from my own end. So I
Right.
still need to go back to it. But right at the speed of go, it was like less than spectacular. Like it did
Right.
not impress me. But let's
Right.
talk about another environment which can help people because you're trying to bridge a gap. I think some of the people that watch my program, they may be job seekers. Maybe they just left school. Are there
Right.
some AI tools that you
Right.
can suggest for them to be able to use to be able to get jobs sooner or quicker than others? And maybe some of them they don't they look like me. Maybe some of them look Asian, so they're not in the most natural environments, but they
Right.
also want to give it their best shot. Are there some tools that can help them get jobs,
Right.
good
Right.
paying jobs? Yeah.
Yeah. So especially in these times, my number one recommendation to everybody, who's listening to there's a conversation, anybody who hears about AI, is learn about it. Just tune in, just listen, and try to learn as much as possible, because the jobs of the future, there's no way they're not going to include AI, right? So you should stay ahead of the curve.
Mhm.
Just immerse yourself in it and start small. Start small, because I know it's overwhelming.
Mhm.
Some people are like, I don't even know where to start, and so mentally you kind of shut down, and things like that. Start
Yeah.
small,
So, what are
starting with
three things that somebody just starting to fiddle around with AI?
yeah,
What tools should they be familiar with, or
yeah,
what book should they read, or what should they do just to get a certain level of comfort before now you tell us which ones are suitable for job seekers?
right. Everybody, I recommend, start with why. I don't care where you are. I don't care if you just got out of high school. Start with why. That's a
Hmm.
very important catalyst to the path that
Hmm.
you're going to go down, right? Number two, you can pick up any AI book. I'm hesitant here to kind of recommend one, just because whatever works for me is not necessarily going to work for other people, right? That's kind of why I'm pausing. But start with yourself. Start with yourself. Start with why. Very important. Number two, read an AI book. If you're a reader, just go on Google, go on Amazon, go on whatever, just look up a very well rated artificial intelligence, guide, book, whatever it is that is going to help educate you, right?
Hmm.
Number three, as I'm saying, use the tool. it is all about you at the end of the day. So if you are a job seeker looking to get a better paying job, leverage AI. Sometimes when people come to me and ask me questions and they're like, well, I don't know how to use AI to make money. Do you know what I say? Have you asked the system?
In fact, that's gonna be my next question. So let's skip that one. How can we use AI to make money? But so for job seekers, are there some specific tools that you recommend?
Again, there's Chat GPT at this point. Let me list all the
Okay.
ones that I know that are out there,
Yeah.
and you can use any ones that you want. Right? There's
Mhm,
Chat GPT that's out there.
mhm,
Through Chat GPT, you can build and customize, AIs and things like that. So there is BCAI, is a product
mhm,
of my company, and it's meant to be. It boils in all my experiences into an
mhm.
AI. Right?
What's the name again? The name
It's
again?
BCAI. You can find it on the
BCAI. So that's Ben Collins
chat.
Advantage
Or because
AI.
AI, or because AI.
Okay, okay. I mean, if you're the author, we'd love to have you give you the credit, but is it just a
Thank you.
coincidence? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. So my products and services are gonna kind of align with the naming of the company, right? BC
Yeah,
Advantage.
yeah,
Products and services I offer are gonna have,
yeah.
kind of that BC naming.
So
There's a very
BCAI.
fundamental
Okay.
reason again why my name is Ben-Collins. So I've just kind of embedded it, the BC part of the name into this
Mhm,
product. So there's again Chat GPT, there's BCAI. BCAI is on Chat GPT. You go to explore GPTs, you will
mhm,
find BCAI in there.
mhm,
There's Meta AI as well. Meta AI already exists on Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. It's already embedded in there. So
mhm,
if you go to any chat or any conversation that you're having, and then you type the at symbol, you're gonna
mhm,
see Meta AI is gonna pop up in there. So Meta AI is another one. There's Google Gemini, which is also out there. There's Claude, which is out there as well. So these are like the top five AIs. Again, each of
okay.
them behave differently. Each of them act differently. There's some things that Claude does that BCAI can do, or ChatGPT cannot do. There's some things that ChatGPT can that the other ones cannot, don't have. So
So are there like evil triplets, evil twins, or evil quadruplets that one is very happy, cheerful, upbeat, one of them is very grumpy, one of
I
them
would
is like one of them not very people, not human friendly?
I would say this: the most social of the five that I just listed, the most social is Meta AI, and the reason is just simple because Meta, which is Facebook, is a social media platform. So you would expect that the AI they're going to produce will be very social. So the
Quick,
most social
and
is Meta.
this might help some of my brothers and sisters in diaspora because one of the initial episodes of this program of this channel was talking to an African lady in Canada who
Okay.
helps young Africans in diaspora to find wives, husbands.
Okay.
So
She's a
can
matchmaker.
yeah, can AI help some of my brothers who are looking for spouses or to look for dates? Can any of the AI tools you recommend that will help them to find a date
Uh,
that they can be proud of to show their parents or call their dad back home, call their mom, say, "Mom, I found that person." Is there any
um,
AI tool that can help them with that, or should they just go back to their great grandparents back home and say, "Please, I need help"?
So if you're thinking of AI, right, and like I said, it's all about how the perspective. If you're thinking of AI in terms of a technology tool, yes, something like, and the young people are going to resonate with this very much. Something like Bumble, right? Something like Hinge. Those in itself are AI, right? Because they are social media apps.
Mhm,
So they help people connect with each
mhm,
other, right? You go there, you set your preferences, and things like that, and then they match you with somebody else who either meets those preferences, or swipes on you, something like that.
Swipe
So
right, swipe left. I don't know.
correct.
I've not swiped, so I don't know.
Yes, it's a swipe left to swipe right
Okay,
type
okay,
situation. So in terms
okay.
of just using technology, that is something. But maybe, and what with this AI boom, when people hear AI, they think of the chat bots like Chat GPT, right? So
Yes.
can that help you find a wife? maybe from the perspective of if you wanted to, I don't know, get smooth. If you wanted to get smooth and you needed some approach strategies and you
Some
kind of went
words or
some words.
yeah, some conversational status. Okay, go to Chat
Exactly.
GPT. What? Give me some couple of smooth phrases that I can
Right.
impress a French girlfriend or German girlfriend or whatever. Okay, Chinese girlfriend. Good luck with that, because
Exactly.
it's a different language altogether. Just like
Exactly.
German. Yeah.
You're going to pick up tips, from ChatGPT about how to go about it. If you are trying to think of date ideas, right, and you're like, hey, I'm really trying to impress this woman or man, what can I do, to kind of, I don't know, make them
Mhm.
happy. You can get tips. That's
That's a
how
good
you
one.
use AI, yeah,
That's a good
to
one.
be able to,
Yeah.
yeah, find a
Yeah.
wife, hopefully, or find a.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Okay. Now let's get to the hot topic now. Is it
Yes.
possible for a guy like me? No, we're almost wrapping up here in about 5, 10 minutes. Is it possible for a guy like me who is not familiar with, not too familiar with blockchain, block 9, block 12, block crazy? It's like, what is that? I can't even figure out block 3 from block 9. What am I going to be talking about? Blockchain is all blocked anyway. How am I going to get in? It's all blocked.
Right.
But
Right. Right.
you brought a very interesting way to explain the blockchain to me. Can you
Right.
explain in a simple manner what is the difference between blockchain and crypto?
Right.
That
Right.
way, some of our folks
Right.
who maybe late bloomers like me can pick up something from there. Difference between
Right. Right.
blockchain and crypto.
Right. So there's no difference, right? They're all part of the same ecosystem. First of all,
Ecosystem. Okay. Okay.
but speaking on the topic of crypto, it's a very sensitive topic, right? A lot of people will say, "Oh, it's volatile, it's risky, it's a fraud, it's a scam." So when I met with Gideon, we had a conversation. I asked him, and I said, "Hey, what do you understand, about crypto?" And he was honest. He was like, "Well, you know what? I'm still trying to figure it out." And I said, "Let me try to explain it to you in 2 minutes." So this is how crypto works. This is what crypto is all about, right? This is not financial advice. This is not me saying, "Hey, go dump your money in there." Absolutely, do not do that. Do not
Not
do that.
on not on this show.
Right,
I am not Dave Ramsey. I
right,
don't pretend to be Brad. Them. You want to make money? Go talk to Dave Ramsey. Go talk to that guy. Now I have a different way of helping you make money, but
right,
it's
right,
gotta it's gotta it's gotta take
right.
some other effort. Not all right. Go ahead.
Exactly. So it's very risky, but here is the concept of it. If you shop on Amazon, right, and you go and you find a pen, you find a book, whatever you find on Amazon that you love, and you want to buy that thing, you take that thing and you put it in your cart. It's a digital cart, but you put it in your cart, right?
Mhm.
From there, you go to checkout. When you go to checkout and pay, and you proceed, you process that payment. What Amazon does in that maybe split second is that Amazon talks to your bank, right? To make sure that you have the funds in your bank. Oh, let's not be like, your bank account is empty because transaction will not go through. So Amazon talks to your bank, make sure that you have the money in there. They collect the money. Once that handshake is done, they put your item, in again, they process it,
Mhm.
and then you get it in your door, what, the next day or something like that. I don't know. They've really optimized this process. It's really fast. But what
Mhm.
you just did, and what we all do, right? Think about the billions of those transactions that are happening from a global standpoint. What
Mhm.
we are doing online is creating digital records, right?
Mhm.
Because that
Mhm.
transaction that you just completed
Mhm.
created a digital record. A
Mhm.
bunch of those digital records together make up a ledger, right? Think of it as a ledger, as a file, actual file ledger, right? It
Mhm.
creates a ledger. A bunch of those ledgers create the block. And it is that block that is part of the blockchain. And so that's
Mhm.
why a process like crypto mining is so labor intensive, because what the computers are trying to do is verify those transactions, authenticate those transactions from a global perspective, right? So that from computer to computer, it is 100% sure that that transaction is legitimate, that it actually happened because it's part of that blockchain, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
blockchain then yields, crypto, right? So
Mhm.
the first cryptocurrency was Bitcoin, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
there's ever going to be only 21 million Bitcoin. So they created scarcity and they have not all been mined yet. They're still kind of mining and going, right? So there's
Mhm.
ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin.
And when you
And
say mine, what does that mean?
mining is the process of verifying those transactions that happen, right? Those
Mhm.
transactions that are part of the block and then the
Okay.
block being part of the ledger, right?
Okay.
So
But how does that make
digital,
somebody money? Like, I want to mine.
right,
I have no mining skills.
right,
So
right.
how can I make money from that mining? If let's say I had the skills to mine, or I have to come to
Yeah.
someone like you who can do
Or
mining,
just purchase
who is
crypto.
IT
Yeah.
savvy,
Yeah, yeah. Or if your question is how do you own cryptocurrency, there's several forms to do that.
which is
Um,
which is which is mining. Owning cryptocurrency, is that equivalent to mining? Is that what you
that
mean?
is not equivalent to mining. Mining is the process of you of the computer
Mhm,
digging through records and
mhm,
legitimizing
mhm,
those transactions. There are companies out there that you can affiliate with if you want to be a miner,
mhm,
or if you want to be a miner yourself, you need to set up a whole bunch of computer rigs to
mhm,
kind of work around the clock
mhm,
in the mining site. So there are various mining sites that you can go again digitally that you
mhm,
can go and mine the Bitcoin.
mhm,
But the whole concept and point of crypto and something like Bitcoin is the value of data, right? This is live information that we can look, but as of I think uh, uh, maybe an hour ago, the
mhm,
one Bitcoin, just one Bitcoin was about 58,000 US dollars, right? This is not something that I've made up. You can literally go online and just type what is one Bitcoin, and you will see the
mhm.
equivalent of kind of what it is. So it's a reflection of the value of data, and it is the value of data from a global perspective,
Okay, okay.
essentially. So
So,
the how you get crypto, Cash App. If you
mhm,
have Cash App
mhm,
does mine does allow you to purchase cryptocurrency.
mhm,
PayPal allows you to purchase cryptocurrency. Robinhood, there are a bunch of apps and systems out there that allow you to buy cryptocurrency. And then what I'm also going to say, as we were, we joked about it, but in all seriousness, no, this is
mhm,
not financial advice. But what I usually tell people is don't put all your money in crypto. But
mhm,
if you had one night where you had to go out with your friends and you just have fun and just blow that money,
mhm.
take take maybe 20% of that money, no
And blow
matter
it,
how small
and
it
then
is, and just put it in there. Yeah,
and, and blow
you
it
were gonna
away.
you, you were gonna go spend it anyways, right? Doing something that was just so.
So it's like going to Las Vegas. Is it as bad as going to Las Vegas, or is it better? I
I
used to be,
mean,
I went to graduate school in Nevada, so
is
I
that
know
right?
about taking
Right.
$100 into
A
a
casino.
casino and coming back with nothing but drunkenness.
Exactly. And you're just spending that money there. So if you have that kind of disposable income, and the thing is that people don't realize the value of small investments like that over time, right?
Mhm,
They add up. You don't have to go all in. If you
mhm,
make those little investments, they add up over time.
mhm,
When you think of crypto, think of 100 years from now, right? When we will have things like the space station, when we'll be, exploring things that are beyond just this earthly realm, you're not
mhm,
you're not going to be carrying US dollars or Cameroon francs or the yen to
mhm,
go and be shopping on in space,
mhm.
right? The things that you're going to use are cryptocurrency. So it
Mhm.
sometimes makes more sense when you not only think about the now, but you're thinking about what
For the
what is to
future.
come. Yeah.
Okay, so it's possible if you buy and speculate that it grows, and other people buy, and over time, if it grows, you make some money. If it doesn't grow, you lose some money. That's
Yeah.
what, just because
Yes.
it's almost like we're attaching value to any other commodity. So it's
Yeah.
almost being traded like a commodity. Is that what you mean?
Correct. And
Okay.
and
Okay.
the reason or why I said, this is live data when I say, for example, that one Bitcoin is $58,000 dollars, it's live information. You can go look at it, but not only in looking at it, you can look at the trends.
Mhm,
The trend is if you had invested 1 year ago, today, that investment, no matter how small, would have gone up by 100%.
Mhm.
That's just fact, right?
Now
This is
we're
not
talking.
me.
Now we're talking. Now we're
Yeah,
talking.
yeah.
All
This
right. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. But in the new economy, which involves Web 2.0, maybe it's Web 3.0,
yes, yes,
AI, and all of that, do
yes,
you see some winners and some losers?
yes.
And is AI balancing the equation for people in Africa, or is it creating more disparities?
I hope it creates more balance, and that is the reason why I started this company, is to bring equity, into society and really just level the playing field. So I hope that it creates more balance. I hope that people can recognize that it's a tool. It's just a tool, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm,
then leverage that tool to empower themselves. Whatever you want to learn,
mhm.
whatever your mind is curious of, if you dedicate yourself enough, you will learn it, you will do
Yes,
it. And
that I
now
can
with
agree.
AI, you can do those things times two, times three, times four, right?
Mhm,
So
mhm,
it is my hope, in kind of conclusion, that people recognize that we are in a moment of opportunity, tremendous opportunity, whether you're in Africa, whether you're in Asia, wherever in the world that you are, know that the tools are available and free for you to use. So
mhm,
don't hold back. Be as curious. The one thing AI is never going to do is interpret your intent. So only you knows your intent. Be as intentional in your own growth as you can be. The people who are going to lose, in my opinion, are the people who don't adopt or adapt. These
mhm,
kind of things. Again,
mhm,
understand that if you don't want to adopt this technology, for example, and you're sitting at home watching this on TV, it's kind of a hypocritical situation, because you are leveraging technology. You are
mhm.
already leveraging technology. So why stop? Why
Yep.
stop at just, I'm going to watch it on TV, or I'm going to let other people kind of do the work? You can be part of the equation in the future, and the kind of systems that we want to build. My hope is that they reflect us, and the way it's going to reflect us is if we participate.
Mhm.
Participation is important. If not, the 20% of the world are gonna be building the tools of the future, when you could have participated and you could have influenced, the kind of AI systems, the kind of futures that we're gonna have. So participation, 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 very important.
Interesting, 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 very important. Okay, okay. I'm just playing off of that. But do you think that schools in Africa should be adopting the teaching of AI related tools,
Yes.
systems? Uh, and if so, are they doing it or not quite?
So
Or are organizations like yours, are they helping school systems in Africa to build new systems like this that would help the next generation of young people to participate on an equal playing field?
correct.
Now
So
that's my service to the community question.
yes, yes, that is my hope, and that's what I'm working tirelessly towards. I'm only but one man, though, so it is my goal that in this journey, in this path that I have kind of started going down, that I can inspire enough people, to carry this mission, of leveling the playing field, and bringing about the kind of change that we want to see. So speaking on the particular item of the schools in Africa and things like that, and AI, unfortunately, it is not being done yet. Unfortunately, it's not being done yet. But it's my hope that we are able to change the mindset, because again, the mindset around AI is still about, hey, this is cheating, and this is not you. It's not a. I hope that mindset and mentality changes, right? And then we can start encouraging young minds to be more curious, because this is going to be transformational. This is I've heard some reports that have equated this to the greatest invention since electricity, right? So I hope we can capitalize on this moment, on this tool, and leverage it with the young minds. But it's not just about the young minds. I would say it's for everybody, right? And
Yes.
how I see AI is, imagine yourself, and now you have a tool that can help you scale up. and do all those
Mhm.
things that
Mhm.
you couldn't just do by yourself, right? So that's how I'm hoping that AI is used, and I hope that as more and more people engage, because we've sat here and talked about only the benefits and things like that, but there are fears. So I hope
Mhm.
we can sit and have an honest dialogue and then figure out ways to leverage this tool to better humanity.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Mr. Ben-Collins Asongwe. And just before you go, I'm asking some short questions that give you opportunity to answer with one or two words.
Okay.
Um, uh, very short questions and short answers. First question: if you had to do it again, would you study art or science?
Art. I studied art, by the way.
Okay,
I studied art in high school.
okay. And
Yes.
now you're into AI, so it
Yes,
doesn't
I
make difference.
graduated.
Okay.
I graduated college in actuarial science, which is a combination of math, economics, finance. That's kind of what I did my bachelor in. So although I studied art in the sense of geography, economics, French,
Okay.
things like that. And then in university, I pivoted to just math, and math.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If you had to choose between living in America, Africa, or Europe, which would you choose?
Oh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Just one.
I
Just
mean,
one.
that's a
Just one.
tough one.
Just
That's
one.
a tough
You
one.
can pick just, you can pick just one.
I ultimately I'd like to retire in my country. So let me put it that way.
So
Ultimately,
Africa,
I'd like
Africa,
to.
Africa.
Yeah.
All right. You walk into a room, uh, and there are chairs that are sitting, chairs that are standing into four different shapes. The first one, a chair is standing in a circle. Second
Hmm?
one, the chair is standing, or the chair is right there in a square. First one is a circle. Second one is a square. Third one is a triangle.
Okay.
All right. Fourth
Okay.
one is a squiggly. Which one
Okay.
would you? Which of those chairs would you be more inclined to sit on? Is it the one in the circle, the one in the square, the one in the triangle, or the one in the squiggly? And squiggly, that means twisted up.
Twist it up, but solid. Or can I mold it?
Twisted up. All right, perfect. That means you're very creative. All right. No wonder. And then the last one, you
Okay.
you go to an event. It's a big party. You go to the table. On one table you have uh, ekwang. On another table you have ekwang, fufu corn. Another table you have achu. On another table you have kwakoko. Which one would you grab and put into your plate?
Atuna, I'm a man con man, so Atu by default.
Okay,
Atu by
okay,
default.
okay, okay, okay. Thank you. They say the apple never falls far from the tree.
That's
Thank you so much, Mr. Asongwe. I appreciate your time so much. I know it's getting a little bit late in the evening, and I want to really thank you after a long, busy day. You made time to sit and talk with us. I hope someone is benefiting from this.
I
Someone
hope.
is benefiting from this. If they want to find out how to meet with BC Advantage, where can they find BC Advantage to learn and get help from you on how to close the gap?
Right. So you can connect with me on social media. You can connect with me on Facebook, Ben-Collins Asongwe. You can find me on LinkedIn as well, Ben-Collins Asongwe. Just look up my name. I have contact information. I have my email as well. Kind of out there. So get in touch. I'm working on my website. So that isn't ready yet, but I have enough information out there to where if you look me up, you're gonna find how to get in touch with me. So get in touch with me either through my social media, or email at bc at bcadvantage llcs.com. So
Thank
bc
you.
at bcadvantage llcs.com.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking with you, Mr. Songwe,
Absolutely.
breaking the complexity and simplifying it for us, and at the same time, building the bridges between the haves and the have nots as far as technology is concerned. It's been a pleasure to have you on the Story Warrior channel. Keep on moving forward, keep cracking and telling, because if you don't tell your story, nobody will tell it for you. Thank you so much, sir, and have a good night.